Welcome to The Explainer. You know, our tools have always been a reflection of us, right? A telescope extends our sight, and now large language models are echoing our way of thinking. They're fluent, they're confident, and sometimes they are just spectacularly wrong. So today, we're diving into a fascinating thought leadership piece that explores how AI's biggest flaw actually holds a mirror right up to our own behavior. Okay, let's start with a scene I bet you're all familiar with. Just picture it. Think back to your school days or maybe even your last big meeting at work. There's always that one person. You know exactly who I'm talking about, don't you? Their hand shoots up, no hesitation. The answer just rolls off their tongue with so much swagger, so much absolute certainty that for a second you totally buy it. And then, boom, it's just completely off. Well, it turns out we've spent billions of dollars and poured in all this brainpower to build our most advanced AI to act just like them. And that brings us to this really cool idea. What if these machines aren't just mirroring our smarts, but also our bad habits, our cultural blind spots? What if, when we see an AI just confidently make something up out of thin air, what we're really seeing is a reflection of ourselves? Now, in the world of AI research, this phenomenon is called hallucination. But honestly, that word is a little bit mystical, right? A much better, much more accurate term for it is confident bluffing. It just gets so much closer to what's actually happening under the hood. So let's be super clear about what this is and what it isn't. This is not the AI seeing pink elephants or just spitting out random nonsense. Nope. It's generating these plausible, well-written, but factually wrong statements. It's not some spooky glitch in the Matrix. It's the machine playing the exact game we trained it to play. And it's playing it strategically. So you're probably asking, how on earth did we teach these incredibly powerful tools to become professional bluffers? Well, it wasn't exactly on purpose, but you could say it was predictable. It's just the logical result of the math and, more importantly, the incentives that we've set up. So it happens in a few stages. First, the AI just ingests a universe of text and learns all these messy statistical patterns. But it really struggles with what are called singletons. These are rare one-off facts that don't really fit a strong pattern. And here's the real kicker. After that, we fine-tune it. We give it tests. We're saying, I don't know, gets you 0 points. But taking a wild guess gives you at least a chance of scoring. We basically sent it to bluffing school. And this quote just brilliantly nails the difference. I mean, think about it. In nature, bluffing can get you killed. You guess wrong about that rustle in the grass, you don't survive. But in this digital world that we've built for our AIs, we've totally flipped the rules. We've created these leaderboards that reward performing over being prudent, speed over humility. So if the problem is basically the test we're giving the AI, then the solution is actually refreshingly simple. All we have to do is change the rules of the game, and we do that by changing how we grade the machine. The authors of the piece this is all based on suggest a system kind of like the old SAT tests, if you remember those. You get a point for a right answer, you get 0 for saying, I don't know, but, and this is key, you get a penalty for being wrong, say -2 points. All of a sudden, just guessing becomes a really bad strategy. The most rational thing to do shifts from bluffing to just being honest about what you don't know. And this is where the story really takes a turn. Because fixing the machine is one thing, but the real insight, the big aha moment, is when we recognize our own reflection in its behavior. You see, this was never just about AI. It's about us. I mean, really think about that. That AI bluffing its way through a test. It is a perfect mirror of our own boardrooms, our classrooms, our society. We live in a culture that consistently, time and again, rewards the confident speech over the careful thought, the loud voice over the thoughtful pause. We mistake the style of certainty for the actual substance of truth. So, what are the big lessons we can take away from our little bluffing machines? It really boils down to a few key things. First, we have to consciously uncouple confidence from actual competence. They are not the same thing. And that means we need to create space, real, safe space, for people to say, I don't know. It means treating new situations with extra care and, maybe most importantly, always being aware of the limits of our own knowledge. Okay, so how do we actually do this? It's one thing to talk about it, but it's another thing to put it into practice. And that brings us to a really practical playbook for what the author calls humble intelligence. These are simple, totally actionable steps. We can set personal confidence thresholds before we speak up in a meeting. We can practice saying things like, okay, my tentative take on this is X, but I need to confirm. We can even track our own predictions to see if we're actually as right as we think we are. And on our teams, we can make it a point to actively celebrate, not punish, the person who has the courage to say, hey, wait a minute, I'm not sure about this. And that's really the challenge that's in front of all of us, isn't it? Just imagine for a second, what if we redesigned our performance reviews, our school exams, with this simple idea in mind? What if admitting you didn't know something was actually rewarded? It forces us to completely reimagine the incentives that drive our workplaces and our entire education system. So ultimately, if we want to build machines that are humble and calibrated and truly trustworthy, we have to start by building a culture that values and rewards those exact same qualities in ourselves. Because in the end, the problem isn't that the machine is bluffing. The problem is that we're the ones who taught it to. And maybe, just maybe, in teaching it to be more honest, we can all remember how to be a little more honest with ourselves.